What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream from the 10-7 MMA show. And hope you guys are having an awesome long weekend so far. I know I am having a great weekend. I'm waiting for Justin to join, but I think he's having some connection issues. So we're going to see if he's able to jump back on. But in the meantime, I thought I'd get us started and say hello to everybody. And we had some pretty interesting weekend of fights last Saturday. And we got some cool, really cool stuff coming up this weekend at UFC 297 that we're definitely going to talk about. Plus, an interesting fight that may have materialized for UFC 300, maybe between Jim Miller and Paul Felder. Okay. All right. So we're just waiting. I think Justin's having some connection issues. Let's see. Okay. See if you can join again. See if you can join again. We were just seeing, I think, yeah, the photo is fine. We were just seeing the view from your pocket for like 10 minutes. Okay. Anyways, regardless, what we're going to do today is I'll give you my takes. I know it's kind of we really want to hear what Justin's takes are on a lot of these things, but I got some things to say and some things to share as well. So let's talk it through, and we're going to go right to the top. Again, Justin's going to try again. He's having some connection issues, but all right, there he is. I think he's in now. All right, we got him. Rocking the Lions jersey.
I got like 10 minutes. That's why I want to start a little early. I got like 10 minutes.
Let's do it. All right. So, first of all, welcome back, and let's jump into the mix. So I thought we could start, and maybe we'll jump around a little bit because I really want to talk about Chris Curtis's fight and Sean Strickland's. But let's just start with Magomed versus Johnny Walker, because what I did on Saturday was right before the fight began, I chopped up your take on the Johnny Walker fight, and I uploaded it as a short. Didn't get a lot of views, but you were absolutely right in your analysis. But what was interesting to me about the fight that I wanted to talk to you about was you look at somebody like Johnny Walker, who's such a fun fighter to watch, and he's flashy. He's throwing like a ton. I think he threw like multiple axe kicks. He was throwing question mark kicks, a lot of crazy stuff. And I think at the beginning to keep Magomed guessing and thinking. And by the way, Magomed didn't even shoot a single takedown, which was very interesting. But what Magomed did, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, it reminded me sort of Sean Strickland versus Izzy in a way, right? Like all Magomed did was just stick really to the fundamentals. They're throwing leg kicks back and forth. He was checking a lot of the leg kicks. And when the opportunity arose, when he saw an opening, it was just a quick whoosh, right shot straight to I think it was a hook. Boom, caught him, knocked him down. Then he hit him with one other follow-up shot. Boom, that was it. No takedowns, no nothing needed. And it was just sort of like, once again, the fundamentals beat sort of the flash and all these other things. Now, I'm not trying to say that Izzy and Walker are comparable in terms of their kickboxing skills, but what do you think about that general takeaway?
I mean, dude, Magomedov came in and he set a point, all right? He came in there, didn't want to wrestle, wanted to strike with the striker, and he did exactly what I thought he'd do. He put a relentless pace on him. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's sharper. He only needs to land one punch, just like we talked about prior to the fights happening. I mean, it's no surprise to me that Johnny Walker got knocked out. I thought Johnny Walker has a suspect chin. Magomedov is coming in. He's this tough, durable Russian. He hasn't taken very much damage through his fights. He come in and cleaned up Johnny Walker just like I thought he would. I mean, this guy's in title contention. He's in the top 3 in my opinion, and really I think he's going to make some noise in 2024.
Got it. And real quick, Louisa, the gardener's at the door. Can you just quickly see if he needs anything from me? Sorry. Yeah, and it's pretty interesting too. He's an amazing fighter. He's calling straight up for a title shot, and Jesse on Fire made a really interesting video saying that, like, and I don't know, it might be true that Dana White hates him. Basically, that Dana White doesn't want to give him a title shot. He wasn't happy with the illegal knee, but he wasn't happy even leading before that, when Magomed was really upset about the and just be careful, Cosmo's coming, and he was really upset about when he had the no contest and all this stuff. So I don't know what this means, if he's gonna get what he wants. It sounds like Jamal Hill is up next for a title defense, but yeah. Anyways, it was interesting. I want to move on. This was an amazing fight, and I'm so excited to see what
Magomed. Chop through these really quick. Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Let's do it. Let's move on. Let's jump straight to the title fight. I want to talk about Sean Strickland versus Ricky du Plessis. So we've got this coming up. Now, I heard two interesting things today that I want to get your feedback on. Number one, Sean Strickland did his show with Chris Curtis today, and he was talking about, the comments about the abuse and all these other things, right? And he did mention on the show that he had actually reached out to Dricus and he told him, he's like, yo, man, I'm just letting you know straight up, man to man, if you do mention that stuff again, like I will straight up kill you. He said something like he's not playing around. But he's like, he's not going to mention. He's like, we texted. He's cool. I like Dricus. We're going to have a great fight, blah, blah, blah. Then I heard Dricus today on the MMA Hour basically saying the same thing. He's like, yeah, man, I'm not going to bring it up anymore. I don't need to bring it up. So
I like the
think
accent. I like the accent. I
Yeah.
like how you put your accent in there.
So I think they actually have a mutual understanding that they're not, like, imagine if that was Colby. He wouldn't, he'd go deeper and deeper. But it sounds like Dricus is respecting that line and respecting that it's causing a big problem, and he's not going to overstep it. Do you believe him? What do you think about this?
Yeah, man, when you got two world-class athletes like Sean and Plessis, I mean, there is going to be talk shit. There is going to be buildup. You're talking about Sean Strickland, one of the most out-of-box characters in the UFC right now. I thought it was cool. So, it reminds me of, I was fighting a guy named Troy Lamson. He was 7-0 as a pro. I was up and coming before I got to the UFC. And, we started going back and forth online. And then he crossed the line a little bit with something. He didn't flat. I'm not going to go into what it was, but he crossed the line with something personal with me. And my comment to him was, hey, look, like, if you want to go personal, we can go personal. And I kind of, I fainted back to him some information that I could expose as well. He was going to expose on me. And we kind of just messaged her, hey, man, all right, hey, let's just keep it professional. Let's talk shit and have some fun. And I feel it's very similar between Sean and Dricus right now. I mean, this is going to be a great fight. You have to have fight buildup, and that's why some of these fighters aren't getting enough. They're not getting enough acknowledgement because they're not building their fights properly. You look like Bilal Muhammad, man. Great fighter. He's on a 7-fight win streak, deserves the title, but he's boring as fuck. I don't really care to watch him fight because he doesn't know how to build fights. And, Sean obviously knows how to build fights. Dricus knows how to build fights. As long as they keep it within the lines, I'm really excited about this fight, not only because he's my teammate, it's because it's Sean Strickland. These guys have built these fights, man. This is why we get excited. This is why I don't care to watch Bilal, man. I know I keep going back to him, but he's the epitome of not knowing how to build fights. And that's why he doesn't get the clout that, someone like this, like a fight like this is going to have a lot of fans watching because of this buildup, because of this hype. And honestly, I think Sean's going to roll him, to be honest. I think Sean's going to finish him. I'm not going to say early or late, but I just don't think he's going to be able to keep up with the pace that Sean is. Dricus is really, really kind of wacky. He always looks like he gasses out. I think Sean's just going to walk him down and knock him out within 3 rounds.
It's gonna be very, very interesting, and the odds are kind of all over the place, and predictions are all over the place. And I read too, Dricus is 6-0 in the UFC. I think that he's got, what was it, like 2.57 takedowns per 15 minutes, almost like 1 per round is what he averages. I don't know. It's a crazy fight. I think I'm favoring Sean Strickland as well, but I can't wait to see the fight. So just as a fight in and of itself, aside from all the drama, it's very fascinating. So very excited.
And here's the thing: don't underestimate Sean's wrestling. The guy wrestles every single day. I was at training this morning with him this morning. The guy's wrestling in the gym this morning. His grappling is a black belt in grappling. He threw his black belt out because belts just hold up your pants. At the end of the day, your fists are going to do the talking. With that being said, nobody's tried to take Sean Strickland down. Who's tried to take him down? This guy's defense is incredible. People know that. That's why he's so confident just walking guys down, because no one's going to shoot on him because he's going to stuff their takedown regardless. So, I just see Sean rolling Dricus, to be honest.
Okay, I cannot wait. I'm very excited for this fight. Let's move along to your other teammate who we have had on the show before, and he was a legend. Let's talk about Chris Curtis versus Barriault. Hold on, let me just pull up Barriault's statistics. He's not as...
I got like 2 minutes left.
Okay, we're going to quickly bust through this. We got you. I got you. All right. So we look at Barriault's, and I think this is going to be a really fun fight. Actually, MMA Guru predicted Chris Curtis to come out with the win here, which is pretty cool. Obviously, we're both predicting Chris Curtis as well. So in his last 6 fights, he's won 4. Last 2 in a row, he beat Julian Marquez and Eric Anders. Eric Anders, I do know. Julian Marquez, I'm not sure who that is. So this is the kind of background. What are your thoughts? I mean, have you been training with Chris much leading up to this fight?
Trained with Chris this morning. Chris was at the gym. He's an animal, dude. The guy's work ethic is unrelentless. He's going to be in shape. The guy throws heavy bombs, and that's another thing. Just like Sean, we haven't had to see Chris Curtis wrestle. Nobody's taking Chris down. Nobody's holding him down. Put him as the underdog in this fight, but this guy has dynamite in his hands. He only needs to land 1 punch to put this guy out. There's not a fighter in the UFC that I can put against Chris Curtis and say he's going to get rolled. Chris is way too strong. He's way too powerful. He's way too athletic. And he's way too technical to be an underdog in this fight. Chris Curtis is gonna come in here. He's gonna get back on the winning track, and he's gonna be in title contention by the end of 2024.
Wow, love it. Okay, we're gonna chop that up, turn it into a short for sure. That's amazing. I know if you got to go, I'll let you go do your thing, and I'll finish up the show today, guys. We had Justin just for a short period of time, but thank you, Justin. We
I
appreciate it.
appreciate you guys.
Click
I'll see
that
you
like
soon.
button if you can. All right, see you soon. Take it easy.
Bye.
Okay, and I'm gonna finish out the show. We're gonna talk through some of these other topics that I brought up here, but I can't wait to see Chris Curtis. Obviously, Justin is teammates with both Chris and Sean, so that was valuable insights. All right. Let's talk about two other quick fights that I wanted to get into. One of those is very interesting. Is Mike Malott. He is a Canadian rising prospect, really, really, really awesome fighter. So, some of the criticisms that I've heard about his record is okay. He hasn't fought the craziest competition just yet. We're gonna pull up his Wikipedia and we'll talk through his record so far, and then we're going to talk about his upcoming matchup with Neil Magny, which I do think he's favored to win. So if we look at his last here, let's do a little share screen here. So we'll get this up here. Okay, so we kind of see his record, right? He contender series, and then his last three fights in the UFC, he's won them all, and he's won them pretty impressively, either in the first round or second round. So these look like all finishes: submission, submission, TKO, submission. Prior to that, it looks like he's only had one loss in the World Series of Fighting. Very impressive fighter. Then we got Neil Magny, an OG of the game. Okay, so we look at Neil Magny's record. Obviously, we know his most recent loss was to Ian Gary right there. And, you know, he's kind of had a 50-50 record the last few fights. But, I mean, he's fought, like, look at the people he's fought. This is insane. Shavkat Rakhmonov, Daniel Rodriguez, great fighter. Lost to Gilbert Burns. I mean, come on, Gilbert Burns is a legend. Beat Philip Rowe. And then Ian Gary. Whatever you want to say about him, Ian Gary is a fantastic, amazing talent, fantastic fighter. I have been listening to a lot of people talk about this fight and give their predictions. And I'm using those predictions and those thoughts to inform my decision. But where I'm going is I'm going to go with Mike Malott. And I think he's on the rise. I think he's upcoming. I think he's confident as heck. I think that Neil Magny is amazing. He might be kind of approaching that latter portion of his career. He's already 36. Will be 36 and a half, really. So, you know, that depends. Justin's talked about this phenomenon. He's 34. He feels like he's on the downside of his career, kind of to some degree, right? It's hard to train, hard to cut weight, whatnot. So I'm sure Neil Magny's dealing with that. Plus, I know he's talked in the media about a lot of things going on in his personal life, unfortunately, with some custody battles. And he is coming off that last loss, which was pretty dominant from Ian Gary's perspective. Ian Gary was pretty dominant against Neil Magny. So that's where I'm leaning. I'm feeling like it's going to be a tough one for Neil Magny, but a really fun one. Mike Malott, if you did see his last fight, he's an incredible fighter, so I can't wait for this. Okay. Let's go to the last topic here today. We're going to keep it a little bit briefer for the show as we are one half. Yeah, Malott is a stud, as Western Mass Climber does state, which I totally agree. Now, I want to talk about this last thing, and we'll maybe segue into another discussion of what I still see coming up for UFC 300, because we got a lot of moving parts. And I want to talk about why I think we're still waiting to hear that final announcement for the main card, or even the co-main, really. We got Jim Miller versus Paul Felder as a possibility. So Jim Miller, if you missed this fight, he was the co-main. He was the co-main on Saturday. He's an OG. I think he's 40 or 39. Let me double check that. Jim Miller, UFC. And he's just like a really cool guy. He is, he's 40. So he's born in August. So he gave a whole discussion on some of these talk shows, talking about the journey, talking about what it's like fighting at that age, and that he's still excited and he still gets up and he can still compete in the gym and he feels good. And like I said, he had a great submission. Just such a nice guy, such an amazing guy. And he called out Paul Felder from the booth for one more fight. Maybe both of them get put on the prelims or something like that for UFC 300, which on UFC 300 prelims is like a main card spot anywhere else. So no disrespect. I think this would be an incredible fight. Now, Paul Felder talked about the training that he's going under now, and he's doing a lot of triathlons, a lot of cardio work, stuff like that, and that's what's getting him excited. So the question is, does he want to get back into the gym and train? Michael Bisping made an interesting comment saying, hey, man, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you don't go out there and take that fight at UFC 300, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. So, look, I don't know what it's like to be a fighter from that vantage point, and I don't know what it would be like to get that opportunity to actually fight at UFC 300. I imagine it would have to be a big deal, but I would love to see it. And it's two awesome guys. And as One Eye King says, I hope he keeps winning. I 110% agree. And yes, Western Mass Climber makes the observation. Jim Miller has momentum right now. Yeah, Felder's been out for a long time. I wonder how all that information, watching at the booth and what type of information you could learn that way. I wonder how much that could help him. But yeah, I think definitely Jim Miller seems to have an advantage in this case. Let me see how old Jim Felder is. I mean, Paul Felder. Jim Felder. Paul Felder is. Hold on. Paul Felder. Yeah, he's 39. Yeah, so they're right around the same. So I think that'll be an interesting fight. We are still waiting. Okay, last thing I want to talk about. We are still waiting for this announcement for UFC 300. And we still don't have any official fight announcements or any word of what's going on with Conor McGregor at International Fight Week. For a long time, I've been thinking this entire International Fight Week potential fight was just total nonsense. Conor said it to stir the pot, to get things moving, to get the UFC to, maybe as a negotiation tactic. We have since heard nothing from the UFC as an official announcement. The only thing that I heard that in any way could relate to that being actually on the agenda potentially is apparently at, what was it? I think it's at T-Mobile Arena. They're planning to fight in Vegas, apparently right now for that date on June 29th. Actually, let's fact check this. T-Mobile Arena, Vegas. Okay, we're going to see this. I heard Chael Sonnen talk about this. He said that right now, let's see if this works. Oh, wait, we got to unshare that. Hold on. And then he said right now, when you go to that date, it says TBD, Conor, like it says something about Conor McGregor. Let me see. All right. Let's go to let's see if we can find anything for International Fight Week. Oh, wait. Where's 300? Let's just see. UFC 300 says TBA to be announced. All right. And no, nothing. There's nothing. It's not even there. Okay, so I heard Chael Sonnen say something about the T-Mobile Arena. And I have the right thing, right? Yeah, this is definitely the right thing. So I don't know. So there you go. We don't even have anything on the website, so I don't know what he was talking about. But we're still in the dark. Trying to sneak it there all juice up. I don't think he has to sneak it anymore. I think it would be much easier now, given the exit of USADA. Yeah, you guys are really holding it down. Sorry, Justin had to bounce. I don't know. Something I think came up last minute. So it's unfortunate, but don't worry. We're going to be back on Friday with a full breakdown. We're going to check out the weigh-ins. It's going to be really, really fun. So that's it, guys. Today, we're going to do a little bit of a shorter break. I still want to thank you, everybody, for coming back and joining and continuing us to be our audience and give us a shot. One Eye King, thank you for being new and for joining on. Western Mass Climber, as always, you've been with us since the beginning, so we really appreciate it. All right, guys, that is it. I'm going to wrap for today. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you in the next episode. Slowly but surely, we are growing. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time. Take it easy.